Kids Playground!
Hooray!
This is the Darren Harris Podcast. Here's your host, Darren Harris.
Hey folks, what's happening? Welcome back to the show. I'm Darren Harris, and this is my podcast. What's happening? How you feeling this week? Hopefully everybody's doing good. How's your mental health this week? Hopefully everybody's doing good. Mine's been a little rocky. As you heard last week, I had to put my Great Dane down. So my sweet potato pie is no longer with us. So I've been kind of dealing with that right now, but I'm dealing with something else that has really kind of ticked me off, I guess. It's really kind of upset me. And that is the Olympics, the breakdancing portion of the Olympics in particular, just pissed me right off. And I've been just really upset about it because of the performance from the breakdancer from Australia, Rachael Gunn. And I hate to even call her Raygun because that's actually kind of a cool name for a breakdancer, but she's not even a fucking breakdancer. I mean, she's barely dancing. I mean, if it was interpretive, cool. You know, if that's what she wants to do, then she should do that till her heart's desire. But what she shouldn't do is call that shit breakdancing. That's what she shouldn't have done. So that's what I'm talking about today on the program. There was other things in the Olympics that were, kind of disappointing. That it didn't really make me mad. I was just more disappointed. Simone Biles fell. That was disappointing. I think the other girl is having a medal taken away from her. That's kind of disappointing. For some sort of points issue, that's kind of disappointing. But some of the bright spots, of course, were Team USA basketball busting people's ass. I mean, the championship game at the end against France gave me a whole new respect for Steph Curry. Really, really did. And I really did enjoy watching LeBron and Steph play together. I think everybody did, and everybody anticipated that, and everybody was very, extremely exhilarated about it, and so was I. I didn't catch a lot, but I did whatever I did catch. It was, it was substantial. I have seen some clips online, some clips on social media, and man, now it's now I got to come home and play against each other. I got to come home and hate your fucking ass. How about that? But it was good to see. But let's get back to this chick, man, because I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I'm upset. I'm going to tell you why this affects me greatly. Back in, I guess, like 1984. 1985, that's when I, myself, personally started breakdancing. And I was horrible at first. I was horrible. I mean, horrible. Like, worse than this chick. I was terrible. And I really was intrigued by it, but I didn't know the first thing about it. And I ended up moving to San Diego, California as a Navy brat. My mother married James Walker, awesome guy. God rest his soul. But he moved us out to San Diego. And I went to school out there, and I was in the 7th grade. And this guy, Henry, I'll never forget him. I forgot his last name, or else I'd try to find him. If you're listening, man, I love you, Brent. I love you, man. But what this guy did is every day in the 7th grade, for my first day I got there, I was at a new school. I didn't know anybody. I was on a different coast. I'm in California. I'm from New York. I'm in California. I don't know anybody. Everybody looks different. I look weird to everybody, and everybody looks weird to me. And first couple of days, but about the third day into it, about the third, fourth day into being there, I'm sitting at lunch, and this guy, Henry, he walks over and he starts popping, like not breakdancing, but like popping, like, and he grabbed my head and ate it and put it down his belly and threw it back up and put it on top of my head in the wave, and everybody, whoa! I was humiliated. I was fucking embarrassed as shit. I didn't know what the fuck that was. And this motherfucker proceeded to do that shit to me every day. Every day. Every day. So I started, the people who had friended me when I got there, I had a couple of friends, they explained to me what was going on. And I was like, oh, but I was intrigued by it because, man, it was awesome. It was awesome. The way he was able to pop, he was the first popper I ever met in my life, and it was awesome. He was awesome. In the 7th grade. So after that, it became my mission, my life's mission, to learn how to pop, to learn how to do this. And every day, this guy came out and ate my lunch. Every day. But secretly at home, I went in and I put the work in. I stood in front of the mirror. I watched, different breakdancing or different popping and pop locking videos. I knew something about it because I came from New York, but I didn't know anything really about it. I tried, but I didn't really know. But I started putting this stuff together. And I put it together, and I practiced the wave, and I practiced the wave, and I practiced the wave until I got it. And I practiced the little heartbeat until I got it. And I practiced all my leg movements until I got it. It took me all year. It took me all year. And the last day of school, I was having a 3-point shootout contest with my friend Casey and his brother. Those were my friends that friended me. We played marbles together, but I'm having a 3-point shootout with him, and then all these people just surrounded me out of nowhere. And I knew what was happening. I knew, and Henry stepped to the front, and he started popping, and he came up to me, and he did his move, and but I stepped right into him. And I had my 8-mile moment. I stepped right into this guy, and I put the work on him. And everybody, it was great. It was awesome. And after it was over, Henry walked up and he shook my hand, gave me a big fat hug. He said, now that's what I'm talking about right there. And like I said, man, I really, really wish I had not lost track of this dude because he was such an awesome guy. We became such good friends after that. And we navigated the whole breakdance. We were Navy kids, we were all Navy kids. So we bounced around out there around other Navy kids from all over the world, from the Philippines and, everywhere, Guam, everywhere. And I met some incredible breakdancers. There was a guy named Danny Amazon and another friend of mine named Bernardo. He was from Mexico. Both of those guys were Mexican. Stomo was Japanese. He was from Japan. And they were just great, and we're all part of these crews. And my crew was, at first I was in the Dynamic crew, but Danny Amazon asked me to be in the Mad Maraccas crew after he watched me pop. And the Mad Maraccas crew at the time was one of the best crews in San Diego. And it was a thing, man. It was a big deal. People came from everywhere. I mean, it would be times hundreds of people would be out there watching us battle other crews. We had 2 other rival crews. The Mad Maraccas had the Juice crew and the Spectre crew. And it was and the reason why I advocate against racism is because that's where I learned that race didn't matter. It was out there breaking because it was kids from everywhere. We were kids. We were kids, man. It was kids from everywhere. And we were all hugging and we were all laughing. White guys popping. I'd never seen a white guy dance, let alone pop. But he was my nemesis. And he was on the Spectre crew. And he was my nemesis, which we became friends. His name was Schleprock. And he was awesome, man. He was awesome. I wish I could find some of these guys, half of these guys, because they taught me a lot. They taught me a lot about being cordial, about having disagreements cordially and not resulting to violence. Instead, what we did is we were breakers, man. We were poppers, man. We went out there and we got our point across non-violently by who had the best moves, who was more athletic, who got the largest crowd hype. It was a big time, man. It was a good time. I'm going to take a break real fast. And when I come back, I'll tell you guys more about why I'm fucking pissed about this chick, I can't even, like I said, I can't even call her Raygun, even though I just said it. It's just ridiculous to me, man. I'll be right back, man. I'm Darren Harris. I'll be right back.
It's bold. It's sweet. It's sexy. Introducing new Stella Rosa Brandy in 3 fruit-forward flavors: smooth black, honey peach, and tropical passion. Ask your retailer for Stella Rosa Premium Imported Brandy. Please celebrate responsibly.
Now, back to the Darren Harris Podcast.
Hey, folks, what's up? Welcome back to the show. Today I'm talking about breakdancing debacle. Because it was exactly, that was a breakdancing debacle. It wasn't even breakdancing, I'm sorry. We're talking about Rachael Gunn, a.k.a. Raygun, which I will continue to say I hate to call her that, but that's what everybody knows because Raygun is a cool name. Now, apparently this lady said she had a PhD. She's a fucking doctor of breakdancing. That is hilarious to me. A doctor of breakdancing. A doctor of breakdancing. I didn't know you could be a doctor of breakdancing. I didn't know you could do that. Hip hop cultural studies. What? Who told you that? Who told you that? First of all, this is how I feel about the whole hip hop and hip hop culture and the whole situation. If you want to learn about hip hop, all right, if you're trying to, and this might sound a little funny to some people, but if you honestly wanted to have a real degree and really learn about hip hop, a real degree, an actual degree, and learn about the hip hop culture, then you need to come to the United States and learn about it. And the top person you need to start learning it from is KRS-One. Okay? Right now, and unless you could talk to Kool Herc, you know, unless you want to talk to, because you could get East Coast and you can go West Coast too. And as it formulated and grew, you can come down south as well into the Midwest. Because this is where it's from. It's not from Australia, so it's not some Australian dude who really liked hip hop who decided, you know what, I'm gonna try to make a class out of this. I'm gonna give people certificates or diplomas or doctorates in some bullshit. Because that's what it is. It's a doctorate in bullshit. It's a straight up bullshit ass doctorate. I want to know how she got it. I want to know what curriculum she took. I never went to school for anything hip hop, and I bet you I should be a fucking doctor. And I don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everything. But I bet you I could go in, and if she got a doctorate in this shit, I bet you I could go in and ace this shit. I got 2 friends. They are white guys. They run a hip-hop station called Dumbfou Radio. Them dudes literally could go down there and be doctors. They could go down there and teach this shit. No shit. This is not a representation of hip-hop. She is not a breakdancer. It took me, I was a popper for a long time, couple years. I moved back to New York. From San Diego, I moved back to New York. And when I got back to New York, people who had saw me before, there was a guy there, George Rosario, I'll never forget him. He was a breakdancer. He thought he was the man. And he was. He had great footwork, great top rocking and up rock work. He had all that. He had all that. He could spin on his back. He had all that. I couldn't do none of that shit. But I could pop now. And when I got back to, New York, I started popping. And everybody, oh man, wow, D, you got real good. Yeah, because I've been practicing, I've been battling, I've been out here in the streets learning how to do this. But George Rosario, he was the same thing, except for me and him never really became friends. It was the same thing as Henry. George would come up and he would just come up and top rock and just, do all this stuff right in front of me. He had all the fresh gear, everything that you needed. You had, shell toe Adidas, two-tone leads, Cazell shades, glasses. He had the double BVDs with one BVD t-shirt on the top, like a long sleeve, like a short sleeve t-shirt, and then a tank top over the top of that, like two-tone. He had a Kango. He had the whole thing, man. He had the bomber. He was Beat Street. He was what every breakdancer wanted to be in New York. He really was. Or I thought. So, a little while, George being there, popping, and George eating my lunch on some breakdance, I went back to California. I went back out to my mother's. And when I got back, I met I had some friends out there that I already knew me, my friend Ricky, my friend Charles. Hey, man, the day I got back, hey, man, we got a battle. They were part of a crew called the Dynamic Crew. Hey, man, we got a battle, man. We're battling this guy, Danny Amazon, and this crew called the Mad Moroccers. And I said, okay. And I came. And the Mad Moroccers, they had some poppers. Some of his crew, I knew those guys. We were friends. We hugged from the last time I lived there. Hey, man, what's up? Welcome back. But I was over here. I was hanging out with, my friend Ricky, who was at the time, he was my best friend out there, and we had this battle in this guy's garage, and the Mad Moroccers won the battle. They won the battle, and the reason they won the battle is not because we did poorly, because we all did great. It's because they had one guy who was phenomenal. His name was Danny Amazon. And I will never forget that, man, because he was no taller than my wife. My wife is 4'10". Okay, my wife is 4'10". I think he might have even been shorter than her. I think if you put it down to it, she probably could have dunked on him. But I will tell you what, this guy, to this day, is one of the most phenomenal breakdancers I have ever come across in my life or seen since. And he did drill head spins and windmills, and he had amazing control over his body. And after the battle, everybody was like, congregating afterwards. And he walked up to me. He said, hey, man, what's your name? And everybody, hey, man, this is Darren, da-da-da. He used to live here before, so on and so forth. And from that minute right there, me and Danny became cool. Danny had another white guy on his crew that I was friends with before I left, and his name was Speedy. And I wish I could find that dude too, man. Me and this motherfucker did crazy shit. We used to fucking huff paint. And sit and watch the fucking canyon, the lights, out in the canyon in San Diego, and talk about breakdancing for hours, man, for hours. That's what the whole culture was about. We were all breakdancers, man. We went to school. We were all dressed the part. We were all motherfucking Turbo and Ozone. You motherfucking right. We was all Turbo and Ozone out this bitch. And we had a great time, and we loved it. And behind that, Danny asked me, he said, hey, man, do you break it all? I said, no. He said, we don't have very many poppers. We got some because me and Ricky my friend Ricky was better than me, but me, Ricky, and Charles, we actually won the popping segment of the battle because the three of us had a routine. And he said, we really don't have any poppers on our crew, man. Would you guys like to join our crew? So that day, the Dynamic Crew and the Mad Moroccers crew joined, and we became this big, formidable crew that allowed us to go against better crews than us, like the Juice Crew, who had Stomo, and the Spectre Crew, who had my friend Bernardo, because he moved on to another side of town. You know what I'm saying? So it was a whole hierarchy of things. So we formed this mega crew, and we began to challenge and win against other crews, and we became one of the top 3 crews in San Diego. And I started practicing. Danny started mentoring me into practicing. And like I said, I had a whole bunch of friends that when I came back, they had stopped popping, and all these guys were breaking now. And what they wanted to do is level me up. And that's exactly what they did. They leveled me up. And I was so grateful that they did this, but we all took it to another level because I became comfortable. And now on the Mad Moroccers crew a lot, instead of popping, I was now breaking. I was breaking because, and not for nothing, I could do both, which there weren't a lot of people that could do both. So I became valuable in the crew. Me and Danny, everybody became, because Danny could pop a little bit. Speedy couldn't pop at all. My friend Ricky couldn't break it all. I could do everything. It became to the point where I was like Danny, where I could do everything. I wasn't as good as Danny, but I was a formidable guy to watch out for because, I could attack you several different ways. Or if somebody jumped out and did something, I would jump out because I got that, because I can do that now. And I'm better than this guy at that because I practiced and I practiced. I practiced. I put the work in. I put all of my heart, my soul, effort. I hurt my body doing this. I have scars on my body from doing this. I have arthritis right now that I'm dealing with right this minute from breakdancing. And I'll tell you what, I loved every minute of it. I loved every single second. Every second of it, I loved it. So it got to the point where, I had to go back to the East Coast. And that was the last time that I ever saw any of my friends from San Diego, even though I've, linked up with some of them online since then. Like my buddy JW, man, who was another popper and breaker. My buddy Charles, who is now the DJ. He's the tour DJ for the Rocksteady crew. He was a popper. He was a popper, but now he's the tour DJ. His name is Charlie Rock. There's a few people. Homegirl Letitia, she was a popper, and she was great at it. I got a bunch of friends that I've linked up with since then. We're all in our adult lives, and we sit and we reminisce and we send each other breakdancing clips, and it's cool, man. And we still in the mirror, man. We try different moves. Now I'm not really getting on the floor. I'm not doing any Kurt Thomas flares anymore. I'm not windmilling anymore. I'm not spinning on my head anymore. I'm not doing any elbow spins anymore. But there are some moves that I wish I could have got to, like the air flares, man. These kids these days, and it's so great to see the evolution of a vein of hip hop that I was present for, that I participated in, that I had a hand in creating a legacy in. I can tell my kids, and some of my kids have asked me, hey, Dad, can you still do this? Hey, Dad, can you still do that? Well, I can't do this anymore, but I could maybe do this. And it's it makes you want to get down there and do it again, man. I'm thinking about trying to figure out, well, right now I got some back problems and some leg problems that they can't figure out what's going on right now, but we're going to figure it out, and when it does, my whole workout regimen might be back down here on the fucking floor. You know what I'm saying? Because I loved it. I loved it. It taught me camaraderie. It taught me how to lose with grace. It really did. Not like on the basketball court where you want to fight a motherfucker after they dunk on you. But it taught me how to lose with grace and still have sportsmanship, be friendly, not be violent, still have a good time, and know that the next time I come back, I'm going to have something for you. You got me this time, but I'm going to get you next time. And vice versa. You got me this time, D, but I'm going to get you next time. And I'm looking forward to it. And we'll talk to each other in school. You know what I'm saying? And we'll eat lunch together and all that shit. And yeah, there was beefs. People didn't like each other, but they never took it to violence, man. We never took it to any violence. We took it to the floor. We took it straight to the floor. These dudes was popping shit. Oh, yeah? I'll meet you out there with the fucking uniform on. We made ways to make breakdancing more comfortable for us. We did that on purpose. We had we were Navy kids. Our parents went out. Instead of us going out and getting in trouble doing drugs and things of that nature, they supported everything that we did. So when we needed something like, some padded carpet so that we could put the linoleum on top of it, they buy us the linoleum and the carpet, and the uniforms. We need uniforms so we could look alike. Our parents would all, well, what do you guys have to put on? But they supported us, and they would come out and they cheered for us. It was great. It was amazing. And it brings me such good memories. And to see the day that this sport entered the Olympics, it almost brought me to tears, man. I thought about so many good friends and so many battles that I had and that I won and lost, and the friends that I made. I think about my friend Henry every time, man, because he's the one who got me started. I think about this dude all the time, man. And I ask people, other ones of my friends, hey, man, can you find this guy? Man, we've been looking for him. So same thing with Danny Amazon. I wish, man, if you guys are listening to this podcast, if you know these people, man, tell them to DM me, reach out to me. Really, man, I would love to talk to you guys. I would love to talk to you. I would love to see you guys. Love to, maybe even from the other crews, man. If any of you guys out there from the other crews are listening, man, yo, for real, reach out, dude. Reach out, man. I would love to sit down and catch up with you guys, man. I would love to sit down and see what y'all thought about this bullshit. You know what I'm saying, man? So that's it, man. That's how I became a breakdancer. That's how I became a breakdancer. And, I hold that very close to my heart. It's one of the reasons that, I have vitality to this day. I practiced every day. I was in shape. I was built. There was things I was able to do that I damn sure can't do right now. But I bet you if I tried and practiced, I could get back to it, even at 54. Yeah, I just dated myself. But like I said, I was around. I'm an old school breaker. I'm an old school B-boy. You understand? I'm an old school B-boy. I'm talking about shell-toe Adidas and two-tone Lee's old school. I'm talking about Turbo and Ozone old school. I'm talking about New York City Breakers and the Rocksteady crew old school. That's how old school I am. And that's why this bothers me so much. I'm going to take another break. When I come back, we'll continue talking about this bullshit at the Olympics. I'm Darren Harris.
Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years on Oldies Radio? Many have told them they missed the show. Well, now they're back. Only this time, it's BJ and Bill, the podcast. I mean, everyone has a podcast, right? Just two guys talking about the good old days, life, and what it's like getting older. Subscribe to the BJ and Bill podcast now.
The Podcast Playground. Hooray!
Now, back to the Darren Harris Podcast.
Hey, folks, what's up? Welcome back to the show. Today I'm talking about this bullshit at the Olympics, this breakdancing, for real. So that's who I am. You know what I mean? I'm an old school b-boy, like I said. For the break, I'm a dude from the old school. I don't play that shit. I'm gonna challenge you on your moves. I mean, let me tell you how they should have selected the people for this competition. Okay? There is, if you guys don't know, there is a annual competition hosted by Red Bull called the Red Bull BC1. And it's been going on for some years now. Over 10 years. And it's fucking awesome. The people on there, the B-boys on there, and the awesome. Amazing. I mean, the guys in the Olympics this year, they were good. But the guys from the Red Bull BC1, and they represent every country. There's a representative, if not several, from every country. You could literally pick a team. You could pick a national breakdance team. There are two guys that could have been the captain from France. There's a guy named Junior. He's got I think he's a paraplegic to a degree. And there's another guy named Lilu who won twice. He won the Red Bull BC1 two times. And it's a worldwide competition. And you see some of the most incredible breakdancing you'll ever see in your life. Go look it up. Jump your ass online and look it up. Look it up for yourself. You can see for yourself. If you thought that was a good representation of breakdancing, look at the Red Bull BC1. Go check out some of the Red Bull BC1. Now, let me say, the guys didn't do half bad, but a lot of, the girls, and most of the girls did pretty good too, except for the one. This girl got 0 points. I mean, how the fuck do you do that? Even if you come in last, I don't give a fuck what sport you're participating in. I don't care what it is. If you come in last, you get some points. You might get 0.0 with like 2, 3, 3, because, you know what I'm saying? This chick got no points. And then somebody said, one of the judges said, oh, it's about originality. Well, how come you didn't give her fucking any points for originality then? Huh? How come? How come you didn't do it? That's what she said she brought. I bring originality. You don't bring shit. You brought a big pile of shit is what you brought. I'm absolutely just so upset about it because I waited a long time to see this in the Olympics. I waited a long time. I didn't ever think they were going to have it. And when they announced that they were going to have it, I was ecstatic about it. But this right here, I mean, it just, they weren't going to have it. They weren't going to have it anyway. So she had nothing to do with it being canceled. Thank you to my producer for filling me in on that little tidbit. But, they weren't going to have it again. And they were thinking about having it at the next Olympics, after the one that's after 2028. The next Olympics, they were thinking about having it in Australia, which would just piss me off. So we're not going to have it in 2028 in Los Angeles, where some of the best B-boys on the face of the earth come from. But we're going to have it in Australia, where we give out fake PhDs for breakdancing. That's the most ridiculous shit I ever heard. That's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. And I really want to understand sometimes who runs these committees. I mean, I kind of know, I'm not going to say nothing, but I really kind of know who be running these committees, and I'm just like, man, we need some other motherfuckers. Because y'all make all kinds of crazy ass rules for shit, man. The shit they did to Sha'Carri Richardson and the other chick that they weren't able to practice because they missed the. Come on, man. We know where that is. We know what that's rooted in. We know what that's rooted in. We shining and motherfuckers wanting us to fail, but that's all right. And that's another podcast. But I'll tell you right now, one of the things that bothered me is the fact that this is, I mean, that's cultural appropriation. She just thought that she could come out here and represent this culture without really knowing anything about it, honestly. And that, right, to me is dirty, man. It's not something that, hip-hop is not something that you do. It's something that you live. I am hip-hop. I'm every vein of hip-hop. I'm a rapper. I'm a beat maker. I'm a graffiti writer. I'm a DJ. And I'm a motherfucking breakdancer. I'm all of that shit. Practiced all of that shit for years. And for somebody like this woman to come out here and make a mockery of all of these people, all of the work and effort that all of these dancers, for her to come out is despicable. And on top of that, look, this is what happened. Check it out. There is no governing body for breakdancing or anything like that in Australia. So this chick made one. She made it up. She made a qualifier. She made it up. And then her husband was one of the judges on the panel, on the qualifiers on the panel. And then after that, she denied other talented breakdancers entrance into the competition. And then she went and danced against the other and won. And she won the shit, of course. She's banging the fucking judges and she made the fucking shit herself. And now her her girlfriend and her husband, we all get to go to the Olympics because I'm going to break her. That's some bullshit, man. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You ought to be ashamed of your fucking self. I bring originality. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You ought to be ashamed of your fucking self. Your husband needs to be, as a matter of fact, you motherfuckers need to go to jail. I don't know how that works, but I think you motherfuckers need to take it to the fucking pen for a little while. I think you motherfuckers need to be straight up in the motherfucking penitentiary for a little while on this one right here. Because this right here, you need to be stripped of that bullshit ass PhD, call it what the fuck it is, a fucking bubblegum ass diploma. This girl shit on a lot of people. She shit on a lot of people's dreams. D, aren't you being a little harsh on her? Fucking A right. Fucking A right, man. Fuck this chick, man. What she did to these people, the girl that she beat, I think her name was Holly Molly or something like that. The girl that she beat, I've seen a competition video of her. She was all right. She was way better than this chick, though. Way better. Would have been a better representation of Australia. She at least did a Thomas Flair and a windmill. I don't think you should have any kind of fucking doctorate if you can't. No, not break. If you can't do the windmills. If you can't windmill, get the fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. I follow a bunch of B-girls on Instagram. All these chicks is windmilling. These chicks is air flaring. These chicks is doing all kind of work. These chicks is doing all kind of work. And this chick has a fucking PhD and did nothing. It's ridiculous the shit we let people get away with. We need to stop it. It's ridiculous how we let people bastardize the culture, our culture. We need to fucking put an end to it. Start calling these fucking frauds out like they are when we see this shit. So what's happening now is exactly that. Motherfuckers got outraged. Motherfuckers is outraged. Mad about it. Because how dare you do this shit? So now they've launched an investigation into all this chick's, like her business dealings, like finances, everything. This chick done opened a can of worms for herself, and fucking good. You deserve it. You deserve it. You're not an Olympian. And now you're famous, though. Now you're famous but you're famous for the wrong reasons. And all this shit is going to go away, but this bullshit will always stay in everybody's mind. And I feel bad for the people of Australia who believe that you are an actual representation of their country. I feel sorry for those people. They need to put your ass on some sort of fucking house arrest or probation or some sort of something. They need to put your ass on some hard labor. I know what it is. I know what should happen. I think every breakdancer that you competed against and beat, that you didn't beat for real, they need to slap your ass. They need to slap your motherfucking ass. Either that, or you need to, give them some money or some shit. 10 racks each, shit. Whatever it is. How much did you spend on vacation, huh? While you was on vacation in France? How much did you spend out there? Whatever you fucking spent, which I'm sure it was a lot, that's what you should give each one of these fucking people. That's exactly what you should give them. Listen, y'all. Like I said earlier, for those of you who forgot, and for those of you who never knew, breakdancing is one of the 5 veins of hip-hop. Okay? There's rapping. There's DJing. There's production or beat making. There's graffiti writing. And there is breakdancing. This chick is not a representation of any of those things. And that's why I'm upset. That's why I'm insulted. Because you do not represent any of this culture. at all. And I'm talking directly to you now. You don't represent this culture at all, and how fucking dare you go out there and make a mockery of it, you fucking tramp. I'm going to say this about it, and I'm going to leave it alone. Don't let this Olympics be your litmus test for breakdancing. Not at all. Don't. And if you are someone who is interested in breakdancing, do yourself the favor. Put the work in. Put the work in. That's where the most reward comes from. Put the work in. Okay? It makes all the difference in the world. It makes all of the difference in the world for everything. All right? So I think I'm going to wrap this episode up. And if I figure out some other shit, I'll come back and have another, because I can talk about this bitch all day, because this shit is fucking stupid. But for right now, I'm going to wrap it up. And, like I said, y'all, put the work in, man. Don't half-ass shit. Because you see what the fuck happens on the world stage when you half-ass shit. Look at that. So I want to thank my parents, man, for giving me this mouth, because I got a lot of shit to say to a lot of people about a lot of things. And I want to thank my wife for being 100% supportive of this whole endeavor right here. I want to thank my producer and best friend, Jesse Yandel, for, just angering me on a daily basis with news stories and all kind of other shit. Over here poking at me. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I want to thank Gentry Thomas for giving me the platform to deliver all of my things to you guys on. And last but not least, I want to thank all of my listeners out there that are with me, that have been with me, that have stayed with me, the ones that have listened and have stopped. I want to thank you all for at least giving me a little bit of time, man. I do really, really appreciate it. So until next week, don't go out there and do no dumb shit like she did, all right? I'm Darren Harris. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Look for Starbucks coffee in a grocery store near you, then sit back and enjoy the exceptional taste of Starbucks at home.
You've been listening to the Darren Harris Podcast. Subscribe to the show, give a good rating, and everything you need to know is at DarrenHarris.com.